The Democrat response to Elon Musk actually shutting down the USAID agency is all you need to know about government corruption, right? Why are they so upset that someone is actually going in and auditing where the money is being spent and what it's being spent for, right? If they weren't receiving huge kickbacks, allegedly, then obviously they would have to be on board with cutting out the government waste. But of course, we all know where it's actually going. It's lining the pockets, which is how these politicians that make $170,000 a year end up being worth multi-millions of dollars after their careers are over and they own multiple mansions, multiple properties, and of course take lavish vacations. Let's go ahead and jump into this a little bit. But before we get these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
There's probably no entity in the government that is more of an entrenched power center of unelected bureaucrats with less accountability, less oversight than USAID. They funnel money to their cronies all over the world through a swampy network of NGOs, non-governmental organizations, and cutouts, including potentially some very troubling elements of focusing on things like regime change and destabilizing foreign countries. But this is not about America's interests. Donald Trump is courageously restoring democracy. Article 2 of the executive branch vests all power by the Constitution. Article 2 of the Constitution vests all power of the executive branch in a president. It's known as the vesting clause. It says the executive power shall be vested in a president, singular, not in the bureaucracy, not in unelected, lifetime tenured career civil servants. Americans voted for one man, Donald J. Trump. They didn't vote for a single bureaucrat at USAID. They voted for Donald Trump to make government accountable to the taxpayer, to make government accountable for them. If the Democrats are saying, as they are, that President Trump cannot implement his agenda at USAID, that Donald Trump cannot fire recalcitrant bureaucrats, what they are saying, what Democrats are saying, is they oppose democracy itself. They oppose the idea that the American people can elect a man, in this case, our President Donald Trump, to reform the government according to the will of the people. This is a battle between the will of the people through their President Donald Trump and the will of an unelected federal bureaucracy. So we and President Trump are on the side of democracy.
So this, of course, is what the left is actually concerned about. How much power does Donald Trump really possess in order to be able to go in and gut these agencies? Because, of course, you've heard the phrase, the buck stops here. Who actually has control? Is it the bureaucrats? Is it the people who are not elected? Or is it the people who are duly elected leaders, right? Donald Trump winning the popular vote. Does he actually have the ability to go in and say, this agency is not working, right? So therefore, we're transferring it back to the State Department, the Treasury Department, or does he not have any ability to rein in anything whatsoever? Whether it's wasteful spending, whether it's illegal spending, whether it's giving money to our enemies, right? Does Donald Trump, as president, actually possess that power? Because if he doesn't, then what is the point of having an elected president? But that, of course, sounds pretty good to the left now, doesn't it? Now, we'll get to some of their meltdowns in a second, but first, let's hear John Kennedy on the situation.
Now, President Trump ran for office saying, I'm going to review every single penny in the federal budget. Now, how are you going to review the spending in the federal budget without reviewing the spending? And that's what Mr. Musk is doing. Now, many of my Democratic colleagues and some of the tofu-eating wokerati at the USAID are screaming like they're part of a prison riot because they don't want us reviewing the spending. But that's all Mr. Musk is doing, and he's finding some pretty interesting stuff. To my friends who are upset, I would say with respect, call somebody who cares. They better get used to this. It's USAID today. It's going to be Department of Education tomorrow. And really, here's what's going on. For 4 years under President Biden, the people in charge ask one simple question. Who needs to pay more in taxes? Who needs to pay more in taxes? Well, that's not the question that the Republicans and President Trump are going to ask. Our question is, what the hell happened to the money? If you notice, my Democratic colleagues and the USAID officials, they're not defending the spending. All they're talking about is process. Oh, it's an insurrection, and Elon Musk doesn't have the authority. Well, sure he has the authority. The president gave it to him. And all he's doing is looking at the spending. just what the president said he was going to appoint Musk to do. Here's what I hope Rubio and Musk do. I would put together all this absurd spending into a booklet. I'd call a press conference, and in front of God and country and the corporate media and the USAID folks and my Democratic colleagues, I'd go over it, item by item by item, every bit of it. The DEI comic books, the transgender operas, the funding of gain-of-function research. I'd go over every bit of it and say, now, do you want to defend this? And they won't. They can't.
So right now, the big argument from the left is that Elon Musk wasn't elected to do anything. He doesn't have to be. He's an auditor, essentially, all right? Donald Trump wants him to come in and look at the books to see what's going on, and he makes recommendations to Donald Trump as to what's wasteful, etc. And all you have to really do is make the American people aware of all of the garbage that is happening in the USAID, and we'll stand up on our own, call up our legislators and say, stop wasting our money and stop trying to defend this, because as John Kennedy just said, they can't, they won't, they would have no footing. And if they did, they would be easily unelectable, provided, of course, they're in a purple or red state, okay? But let's go ahead and get to these freakouts.
We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. When you gut the Constitution and you install yourself as the sole power, that is how dictators are made. What Trump and Elon and all of their cronies are trying to do is take away the constitutional power of Congress.
And I want to say to our Republican colleagues, pay attention. We're here today in the hopes that you will see the light. But if you do not see the light, we will bring the fire. Resist!
We have convened here in the right place, the Treasury Department. We have got to tell Elon Musk, nobody elected your ass. Nobody told you you could get all of our private information. Nobody told you you could be in charge of the payments of this country. We have told you you've made enough money off our government yourself.
We will not take this. We will fight back.
Fight back. Fight back.
And as I close out, because I know we've been out here for a long time, and God damn it, shut down the Senate. We are at war. Anytime a person can pay $250 million into a campaign and they be given full access to the Department of Treasury of the United States of America, we are at war.
They are raiding the government, attempting to steal taxpayer money. That's what the situation at the Treasury Department is all about. We will introduce the Stop the Steal Act in short order to prevent unlawful access with respect to the Department of Treasury's payment system connected to people who are trying to steal personal, sensitive, and confidential information.
So let me get this right. It seems like the crux of the argument from the left is the government has the right to investigate you, to see every single dollar you're spending and how you're spending it, okay? And if you're doing something wrong, they're going to audit you and send you to jail. But the minute we have someone come in who has no authority to do anything other than to look into what's happening, you freak out, right? As soon as you look into what is being spent, as what is being wasted, who it's being sent to, that is where you draw the line, apparently. And that's how you can tell how much of this is total and complete fraud, and corruption, right? They don't want the spigot turned off. They want that free flow of cash right into their own pockets through their NGOs, through their re-election campaigns, right? They want that money sent out. And Donald Trump is hopefully going to put a stop to it. And if you listen to the language of some of those rabid leftists, it sounds a little insurrection-y to me, right? A little bit of go against the government. We're at war, a call to action, a call to violence, if you will, okay? But I thought they were all against that. I thought they were all for democracy in all of its forms. But of course, they wouldn't be the left if they weren't complete and total hypocrites, because all we're talking about here is fiscal responsibility and uncovering where in the world all of these billions upon billions of tax dollars are going. But that's enough to make them lose their crap. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and stay safe out there, people, because they're coming after you.